Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Science and Products Call. Today we are going to dive into one of the most fascinating and vital regulatory systems in the human body. The endocannabinoid system, of course, but we will also explore how it relates to heart and vascular health. My goal tonight is not only to share knowledge, but also to understand how science and nature can work together to restore balance in the body. The topic tonight is essential. Cannabis has always been a pioneer in combining scientifically researched knowledge with nature's purest ingredients, and today we will see what that truly means in practice. So, my friends, keep an open mind, because what we will hear tonight may just change the way you think about wellness and perhaps even about your own heart. The focus today is on a topic that touches all of us: heart health and the balance of the body. And cannabis is delivering quality for every heartbeat. It's not just a slogan, this is a promise built on pure ingredients, careful production, and scientific precision. So, we will be discussing tonight how high quality, broad spectrum cannabinoids can support the body's own regulatory systems, the endocannabinoid system mainly. And in doing so, they will help maintain heart health, overall balance, and holistic well being. So, this is the perfect combination of science and nature, and it's exactly where cannabis truly shines. Before we go deeper, let's take a moment to understand why this topic is so important. According to the World Health Organization, cardiovascular disease remains the leading cause of death worldwide. More than 17 million people lose their lives each year to conditions that are, in most cases, preventable. And that number is continuously becoming higher. There's often chronic inflammation, oxidative stress, high blood pressure, elevated stress hormone levels, and metabolic imbalance behind the cardiovascular diseases. In other words, this is an overloaded system. And this is where the endocannabinoid system, ECS, comes in. ECS acts as the body's internal regulator, balancing communication between the nervous system, the immune system, and the circulatory system. When the ECS is functioning properly, it calms inflammation, it regulates vascular constriction, and helps the body return to balance after stress. But when this system becomes imbalanced, overloaded, as it does and is for many of us today, the body loses its ability to repair itself. That is why today we are talking about how we can support this system naturally, and in doing so, protect the heart and the entire body. So, if we now agree that we understand why balance is essential, let's have a closer look at the system that makes balance possible in the first place. The ECS is like our body's internal control center. It consists of three main components: receptors, CB1 and CB2. They receive messages. Endocannabinoids, which the body produces itself, and they deliver messages. And enzymes, which regulate when and how those messages are broken down. This system oversees nearly everything that happens in the body, from nervous system activity to immunity, hormonal balance, digestion, sleep cycles, emotional regulation. The role is very simple, but it's absolutely vital. It is there to keep the body in balance under any and all circumstances. But like all regulatory systems, the ECS can become overloaded. Chronic stress, poor nutrition, lack of sleep, or heavy use of medication can weaken its function. The result is a state known as clinical endocannabinoid deficiency, a condition in which the body can no longer respond properly to internal and external challenges. That's why the ECS sometimes needs a restart, a reset. When the system is supported naturally, its communication improves, the receptors become more responsive again, and the body begins to restore its balance. This is the foundation upon which all well-being is built. Before we talk about heart health, energy, or immune defense, we must support this system. So that's what the endocannabinoid system does. How does it connect to the heart and the circulatory system? The ECS is active in the heart muscle, the walls of blood vessels, and in the nervous system that regulates circulation. CB1 and CB2 receptors are found both in the smooth muscles of the blood vessels and in the cells of the heart, and they regulate many of the heart's vital functions. The first role is vascular regulation. When the body needs more oxygen or energy, the ECS can trigger the dilation of blood vessels, improving blood flow and reducing the workload of the heart. The second important role involves controlling inflammation and oxidative stress. The endocannabinoid system helps to suppress excessive inflammatory responses and protects the endothelium. Endothelium is the thin inside lining of all our blood vessels, and it keeps them flexible and healthy. And the third role is the protection of the heart muscle. Research has shown that the endocannabinoid system activates automatically when the heart is under stress, such as during oxygen deprivation or high blood pressure. It acts like the body's own safety system, trying to prevent damage and restore balance. When the endocannabinoid system functions well, it helps maintain blood pressure, heart rate, and vascular elasticity in their natural balance. And when the system weakens, the heart loses part of this fine-tuned regulation, and the risk of disease increases. That's why heart health always begins with the internal balance. And that always begins with the endocannabinoid system. So if we imagine the body as a pendulum clock, when everything works, we stay centered and steady and calm. But the problem is that life constantly pushes us. Stress, inflammation, environmental toxins, poor nutrition, lack of sleep, each of these knocks the pendulum out of balance. The first blow is stress. When stress becomes chronic, the body remains in a constant state of alert. Cortisol and adrenaline stay elevated, blood pressure rises, blood vessels constrict, and the heart has to work harder every moment. If the ECS is functioning, it calms the nervous system and brings the heart rate and blood pressure back to normal. But when the system stops working, heart stays in overdrive, and the result is chronic hypertension, arterial stiffness, and an increased risk of heart attack or stroke. The next blow is inflammation or pain. This is a state where the body is no longer in a temporary defense reaction. It is a permanent state. And the endocannabinoid system is trying to extinguish this fire. Pain can be compared to a fire in our body. Inflammation is definitely comparable to a fire in our body. When ECS is trying to extinguish the fire, the flame will keep on smoldering. And that is when the inflammatory cells attack the blood vessels, damaging their inner lining, the endothelium, and cholesterol begins to stick to it. Over time, plaque builds up, narrowing the arteries and eventually blocking them completely. This is the beginning of atherosclerosis, developing silently over the years. There are many, many more blows to the well-being of our body, our system. Oxidative stress with free radicals attacking cell structures, especially the walls of blood vessels, puts the endocannabinoid system in responsibility to neutralize this process. But if the system is exhausted, the protection disappears. And that is when LDL cholesterol oxidizes, plaques harden, and vascular elasticity is lost. And the result is weakened circulation, declined oxygen delivery, and the heart must work at its limits. So this is how the balance tilts further and further, and without a functioning endocannabinoid system, it never returns to center. And that means we are living in a constant state of imbalance. That means that for the heart and cardiovascular system, that blood pressure remains high, heart rate accelerates, inflammation persists, and the heart is exposed to premature wear. When the endocannabinoid system no longer does its job, the body loses one of its most important protective mechanisms. And at this point, heart disease is no longer just a risk. It becomes only a matter of time. And when the balance is restored, the body begins to automatically repair these damages. Inflammation decreases, oxidative stress subsides, and the blood vessels regain their flexibility. And this is why the endocannabinoid system is on top of everything else that it does, the invisible protector of our heart. When we talk about the heart and health and everything that happens in our body, quality is not a detail. Quality is essential. Here is an image from a metabolomic analysis performed with cannabis pure gold extract. That's a study that measures how a broad spectrum of phytochemicals truly affects our body when it's delivered in high quality and pure form. With the pure gold extract, results were clear. The purer and the more natural the product, the clearer the response in the body. Less is more when quality is real. And cannabis never compromises on ingredients or manufacturing standards. Every oil undergoes independent laboratory testing, not only for cannabinoid content, but maybe even more importantly for our heart. The products are tested for pesticides, heavy metals, microbiological purity. So we don't just test what's in the product, but even what is not there. And that shows in the results. Metabolomic data reveals that pure gold oils are based on an extract that have 242 identified phytocannabinoids and a wide range of natural terpenes and antioxidants that work together through what is known as the entourage effect. This combination creates what we can call a living balance. The body recognizes these compounds and begins to restore its systems to harmony all on its own. So when you choose what to put into your body, it's not a question of quantity, but of the care and value behind it. And that is why we say less is more, because it is, when we choose wisely. Now, this is basically where it all begins, the green hemp oil. This oil acts like an alarm clock for the body's natural balance. Its purpose is not to push the system in any direction, but to gently awaken the endocannabinoid system to function again. The green hemp oil contains raw hemp extract that has not been heated, meaning that it remains in its natural unactivated form. And that is why it contains a compound called CBDA, which is the precursor of cannabidiol. And that plays a very, very special role. See, CBDA interacts directly with cannabinoid receptors, but in a different way than traditional CBD, fully formed cannabidiol. See, CBDA does not force the receptors to act, but it sensitizes them again to communication, as if removing background noise, so the body can hear its own signals more clearly. In addition, CBDA supports the serotonin system and helps reduce inflammation at an early stage, before it can affect circulation and the nervous system. When people begin using the green hemp oil, they very often describe feeling a sense of calm. Not tiredness, but a natural settling, as if the body begins to recognize its own rhythm again. This is the first step for the endocannabinoid system towards balance. No overstimulation, no pressure, just a very gentle nudge towards awakening into connection with the body's inner regulation. The green hemp oil is one of Cannave's original products. It's still one of the most scientifically refined formulations the company has developed. The power lies in its completeness. CBDA and CBD work together with the endocannabinoid system receptors. Terpenes like beta-caryophyllene support CB2 receptors and help reduce inflammation. Chlorophyll and raw plant molecules support the body's natural detoxification and cell renewal, and together these help reopen the receptors to receive the signals that the body itself is sending. It's like an internal communication network reactivating after a long, long silence. As the endocannabinoid system begins to function more efficiently, the nervous system calms down, body becomes more resilient to stress, inflammation levels decrease, and the heart gains more freedom to operate in its natural rhythm. So the green hemp oil is more than just an oil. It is the first restorative signal to the body that it's time to return to balance. And that is why it's always the right product to start with, because it opens the door for other cannabinoids to work at their full potential later. This is pure gold. Pure gold is the oil that helps body return to its natural balance in everyday life. And what does this mean for the heart? First, stress regulation improves. When the body's regulatory system is less burdened, heart rate variability increases, the parasympathetic nervous system activates, and the heart can quite literally take a breath. Second, inflammation and oxidative stress calm down throughout the body, not just in the heart or the brain or in our gut, throughout the entire body. As systemic strain decreases, the inner lining of blood vessels is protected and remains more flexible. And thirdly, pure gold supports recovery, better sleep, steadier energy, and a more balanced mood after directly reflected in heart rhythm and blood pressure. Pure gold is therefore the foundation for daily life, the body's overall stabilizer that gives the heart the conditions to function efficiently and safely. Pure gold is a true broad spectrum product. It is almost a full spectrum product, but it has been treated to remove the detectable THC. Why is this important for the heart? Again, the product includes terpenes like beta-caryophyllene. It includes broad spectrum of natural compounds that reduce oxidative stress. And when LDL cholesterol oxidizes less easily, the conditions for plaque formation are weakened. In addition, this composition supports the body's nitric oxide pathways, meaning better vasodilation and smoother circulation under load. So when you are straining your heart, if it is supported adequately, correctly, your blood vessels will be flexible, and so blood pressure will remain under control, and so your heart has to do its job, but not under stress. The power of pure gold lies in two things. It's pure stable carrier oil and its precisely preserved active compounds. MCT oil, the carrier oil, ensures that the compounds are absorbed evenly, without spikes, without drops. It makes the effect predictable, and the heart appreciates predictability. The active ingredients, a broad range of cannabinoids and terpenes, support three key aspects of heart health. Endothelial protection comes from reducing inflammation and oxidative stress. Vascular regulation, improved nitric oxide availability supports vessel dilation and stable blood pressure. And then finally, nervous system balance. As stress load decreases, heart rate variability improves and cardiac strain is reduced. So when we talk about heart health, we are ultimately talking about balance. And pure gold brings that balance to the entire body. And the heart is the first to benefit. You know, we very often discuss that when you are starting to use cannabinoid products for the first time, or if you are finding your right dose, essentially, you need 3 months before you are experiencing all the benefit, the full spectrum of benefits of these products. It is not because your body doesn't know what to do with them. It is because your body sends them where they are needed the most. And heart would be one of the first places where they will be needed. See, your body and mind is built absolutely brilliantly. It has systems in place that recognize emergencies. And when emergency is there, that is where all help is focused. If you find your correct dose of cannabinoids, and if you commit to using them for 90 to 120 days, then you can trust that you will get the full spectrum of benefits of these products. Now, CBG is a product for cellular protection, the gut-heart axis, and the extinguisher of silent inflammation, because that begins in our gut. This is an oil that works deep at the cellular level and targets the very place where long-term heart protection is truly built. So CBG helps preserve the integrity of the endothelium, the inner lining of these blood vessels that we have been discussing today. When the endothelium is healthy, it regulates nitric oxide release, keeps blood vessels flexible, and maintains fine control of blood pressure. CBG also moderates excessive inflammatory responses in the endothelium and reduces oxidative damage, precisely the processes that accelerate plaque formation and arterial stiffening. And then chronic low-grade inflammation sustains the risk of cardiovascular disease. CBG acts through multiple regulatory pathways, including CB1 and CB2, or TRP channels. It reduces the overproduction of inflammatory cytokines. As inflammation subsides, the endothelium recovers, LDL, oxidation decreases, and the vessel walls better withstand daily strain. Then there's the gut. Heart and gut work together just like brains and gut do. The gut-heart axis is very often overlooked, but it's crucial. Intestinal permeability and microbiome imbalance can increase systemic inflammation, so chronic low-level inflammation throughout the entire body, including the blood vessels. CBG helps strengthen tight junctions in the gut lining. It soothes mucosal inflammation and supports microbiome balance. When inflammatory factors no longer leak from the gut into the bloodstream, the liver, blood vessels, and the heart are relieved from constant alarm. The result is less systemic inflammation, steadier metabolic regulation, and a more favorable impact on blood pressure and vascular elasticity. So, in practice, this appears in 3 ways. Better vascular flexibility, reduced inflammatory load, and more stable autonomic regulation, meaning less internal strain on the heart. So premium CBG acts like a cellular shield. It gives the endothelium time to repair, breaks the cycle of silent inflammation, and restores calm communication along the gut-heart axis. So this is what I would like you to remember today. If we want to protect the heart in the long term, we need to remember the cells, and we need to have CBG present from the very beginning. So what we have seen now is the power trio. It's a triple protection for the heart. 3 products that together form a true protection program for your cardiovascular system. Each one of these products work beautifully on their own. They are effective on different levels, and together they cover the body's entire regulatory system. Green hemp oil awakens the endocannabinoid system to function in balance again. Pure gold stabilizes the body's physiological and neurological balance. Premium CBG repairs and protects cells and the inner lining of blood vessels. But the real power comes from what happens when all 3 act simultaneously and together. When the green hemp oil activates the receptors, it opens the system to receive signals. Pure gold is there to amplify those signals and spread balance throughout the body. It's like the conductor of an orchestra, keeping the rhythm steady. And then premium CBG will work behind the scenes at the cellular level, repairing, renewing, and protecting so that the system can operate at full capacity. And then for the heart, as said, this means 3 things. Better circulatory regulation, blood vessels remain flexible, blood pressure is stable, and oxygen delivery improves. Less inflammation and plaque formation. The ECS calms inflammatory responses. CBG protects the endothelium, and the body begins to cleanse itself naturally. Harmony between the nervous system and the heart's rhythm is restored. Stress and autonomic load decrease, allowing the heart to function in a calm and steady rhythm, in the rhythm that is specifically right for you. So we can say that this trio creates a triple protection at the systemic level, at the level of your whole body, and at the cellular level. When they are used together, they don't just support health, they restore the biological communication that keeps us alive with every heartbeat. And that's why the Power Trio is not just a complementary product set. It's a complete heart program, the foundation of balance, recovery, and longevity. Entourage effect is a phenomenon that makes these products more than the sum of their parts. It means that when multiple phytocannabinoids, terpenes, and flavonoids are present together, their biological effects are amplified many times over. They don't compete, they communicate, just like the body's own endocannabinoids do. Green hemp oil, pure gold, and CBG are combined, and they provide the endocannabinoid system 3 distinct but perfectly compatible messages at once. Green hemp oil is going to walk in and say, activate and awaken. Pure gold is going to come in and say, regulate and stabilize. And then premium CBD, repair and protect. And the result is a system that doesn't run in overdrive, but functions at an optimal natural level. This is the moment when the ECS not only works, but it begins to guide the body's harmonious recovery. Scientifically, it's also important to understand that more is not always better. The endocannabinoid system operates through a delicate feedback mechanism, and that's why quality matters more than quantity. In metabolomic studies, cannabis oils have shown that even small amounts are enough to activate the body's biological responses because the signal is pure and recognizable for the body. This is also evident in our liver, where many low-quality products can overload the CYP450 enzyme system. Cannabis broad-spectrum formulations, on the other hand, support normal enzyme function. They don't overburden metabolism but allow the body to process compounds at its natural physiological rhythm. That's one of the reasons why we say less is more. Because the biological signal can actually be right. So individually, these products are remarkable, each on their own level. But when they work together, a biological synergy arises that strengthens the endocannabinoid system on all levels. And the outcome is not just well-being, but optimized physiology, a state in which the heart, blood vessels, and metabolism operate in unison. That is the entourage effect. It's nature's own orchestrated collaboration. They all fit together like they were made to work together. The endocannabinoid system is active, and the entourage effect guarantees that less is more. Now, science is advancing faster than ever before, and one of the fastest growing fields of this decade is the study of the endocannabinoid system. 20 years ago, ECS was mentioned in only a few dozen scientific publications. Today, thousands of studies are published every year on this subject. Researchers around the world, from Harvard to Zurich to Tokyo, describe the endocannabinoid system as one of the most important regulatory systems in the human body. It is a system that connects the nervous, immune, metabolic, and cardiovascular systems into one integrated whole. Of particular interest are plant-based cannabinoids, so hemp cannabinoids, CBD, CBG, CBDA, CBN. They can interact with the same receptors and signaling pathways as the body's own endocannabinoids. Studies have shown that these compounds can reduce inflammation and oxidative stress in the heart muscle and in the whole body. They can protect the vascular endothelium and balance the function of the autonomic nervous system, which regulates heart rate and blood pressure. CBD is being studied for its antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. CBG is already being referred as the stem cell cannabinoid because of its cellular protective effects. And CBDA, the raw form cannabinoid, has drawn special attention because of its direct interaction with the receptors, and they appear to fine-tune the endocannabinoid system activity without overstimulation. Science is therefore confirming what we already observe in practice. When the endocannabinoid system is supported by natural phytonutrients, the body restores balance on its own. And most importantly, this research is no longer marginal. It's being published in high-level medical and pharmacological journals, and it is now expanding into fields such as cardiovascular health, neurological diseases, immunological disorders, metabolic regulation, so many fields related to our health and well-being are being constantly connected to the endocannabinoid system. So in short, science is taking cannabinoids seriously. The endocannabinoid system is no longer an alternative topic. It stands at the forefront of biology and medicine. And we get to be part of that revolution. So take a moment and feel your heart beating in a rhythm that is entirely your own. It doesn't ask for a lot, only that you give it the chance to beat freely, without excess pressure, without constant struggle. The heart does not work alone. It is connected to every cell, every nerve, and every breath. And it is connected to the system that oversees it all, the endocannabinoid system, the body's own network of regulation. When we take care of this system, we take care of our hearts as well. And when we choose purity, balance, and awareness, we give our bodies the opportunity to do what they do best, to heal, to restore balance, and to live. We do not need perfection. We need connection between ourselves, our bodies, and nature. Every heartbeat carries a message. Take care of me, and I will then take care of you. And that is the message that I would like to leave with you today.